this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Green.
Here.
LaFleur.
Here.
Mistrovich.
Here.
Reindell.
Here.
Ricks.
Here.
Warren.
Here. Good to see everybody here. City Council just came out of a workshop on the budget and is going to come in to run the regular council meeting this evening. We only have 2 items on the agenda so far. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the city council meeting of April 2nd?
I'll make the motion.
Support.
What's been made and supported? Discussion? Page 3 of 4. Item number 4. I don't believe I made a motion to put myself on the Recreation Board. I'm not sure who did.
I did.
I think it was
You
Rob,
did?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a correction there on number 4. Is there anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Go to audience comments on any non-agenda items. We ask that you state your name and address and come to the podium. Don, would you like to talk?
Good evening, Don Brown, Macomb County Commissioner, and also on Congressman Paul Mitchell's staff. For those who don't know, I was with Congressman Candace Miller for a long time when she was in Congress, and moved on to represent Paul Mitchell's campaign for Congress, and now doing for him what I was doing for Congressman Miller, being his face and eyes and ears in the district, and talking to me is like talking to the congressman. So he can't be everywhere. He's often in Washington these days, and so I'm out and about and trying to stay in touch with all of you. And I put on your desk a contact card. It's got not only our district office information where I work out of Shelby, but also has a Washington office where the policy questions are. So if you got issues for any of your constituents, anybody that you know, personally or otherwise, that has an issue with the federal government, something involves the federal government, maybe post office or a veterans benefit or Social Security or something, anything to do with the federal government, give our office a call. We'll be able to look into it and be like grease and maybe try to get it unstuck or let you know what's going on and hopefully help you resolve that in a timely fashion. Our DC office is good. There's where most of the policy issues go. So if you've got an issue you see on television or you read something that gives you cause for concern, you can certainly call the district office. You can certainly call me, but you can also call the DC office directly. And they'll also be able to provide you some information on more policy issues. Since they deal with it on a day-to-day basis, you might get a more direct and immediate answer if it's a technical question, because we're not in the weeds as technically on a day-to-day basis as they are on some of the issues. But Congressman serves on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, and that's sort of been a big topic of conversation in our state with the failing roads that we have and what to do with them. And he's going to be, as they start to move forward on an infrastructure bill that the president said he wanted in his campaign, Congressman Mitchell is going to be in a key position on that committee, crafting the bills that will ultimately go to the Senate, and hopefully they'll pass it and signed by the president. And, they're probably going to, right now, initially they're looking to do something a little bit different. They're going to get maybe a third of the money come from the federal government, a third of the money coming from the states that already have some money set aside, and maybe another third from the private industry, that people that want the actual projects like airports perhaps or rail, so forth like that. Congressman Mitchell, interesting enough, is interested in a short line rail because our district and much of Michigan has very outdated and very in poor condition short line railroads. We know well rail from this community with the Orchard Trail here right nearby, but agriculture is our second biggest producing item in the state economy. But we're producing so much agriculture that we can't get it out of the state quick enough. And if we don't have rail to get it out, we need more trucks. People don't like trucks. I just got a call today from constituent complaining about truck traffic on the roads. Things are starting to heat up now. It's the spring, right? So more trucks are on the road. So there's a balance there. So he's going to try to work with his colleagues to try to find a way to help incentivize, some short line rail to help improve the quality of that and get more assets out to the market. But, But the congressman's also involved with education and workforce development. He's on his background coming from the private sector and education training, Ross Education, where he worked previously for 38 years. He's using his skills as he related to help train people for vocational education when his private sector to put the focus on vocational education here in our own state. Part of those ways is to eliminate some of the red tape and restrictions that the federal government places on the state when they send money to the state of Michigan for education. It's got to have this prerogative and this prerogative and this prerogative. So he's trying to work toward trying to reduce some of the red tape to have more flexibility in our school districts locally and across the state to be able to help with bringing educators tools that they need in the vocational schools, particularly related to certification. It's a complicated issue, but with the locals, the state, and the federal government, but trying to get the skilled engineering or skilled tradesmen we need into our vocational schools. There's a bunch of issues. There's insurance problems. There's certification process because they need the certification to go to the university mill. Well, that takes time and money, and people with skills like that, they have no incentive to hang around and do that. They want to help, but they're not going to wait for 2 years to do it and pay more money. So we're trying to work on that, and so he's been very interested in that. He's been working towards helping other people. He's on a committee called the Government Reform, and they look at special projects like the airports. You know, every time there's a terrorist got a new threat, they need to do something with the FAA. Well, his committee will look at that and try to find ways that make sense to try to figure that out, and then help recommend to the Congress, ways to solve that problem. Generally takes money, right? And that's what they're doing. The congressman's part of a bipartisan work group that's looking at rehashing how they do the budgets. I mean, the budget that they just passed, every time they have to wait to the very end, and they got to pass a huge budget with many things in there they don't like, but they got to fund the military, they got to fund some things that you have to do, but it's also tied in with things that you don't necessarily always like. And so he's trying to get the House to be more disciplined and have spending deadlines. And if they don't meet the deadlines, the House doesn't get paid money. They don't get paid. Congress isn't paid if they don't meet the deadline. That bill clear the House, clear the committee. It's in the House now, and it'll probably go to the Senate, where hopefully, something will happen there. So, using his private experience from the private sector going to the federal government, it's a little different animal, right? It's a lot more. It's more process-oriented. Takes a little bit longer, as you all know from your processes here in local governments. It's the same, but just on a bigger scale in Washington. And so he's committed to try to work with his colleagues to try to help bring some sanity to that budget process and have pass budgets in a timely manner. Now, if there's crisis management every time the end of the year is, we're going to shut down the government because of this or that. On the local side, on the county, I'm your county commissioner, and I've been the county commissioner out here for 28 years. Been North End various times and had Richmond and the city of Richmond and whole North End pretty much most of that time. County's well run. Our budget this year, talking about your budget workshop, last year our budget was 6% less than it was the year before, and we're happy about that. And the year before that, it was flat from year to year. So that's pretty good. Well, we were almost, it was $200,000 more, but on a $475 million budget, all funds, that's pretty much close to flat. You're probably going to find.
I guess.
Yeah. So, but we're really happy about that, and part of the, and we've done that with using existing revenues. We haven't had to raise any taxes to do that. We're also funding our long-term medical insurance liability for our retirees. The promises we made to our employees want to be kept, and they are going to be kept. And we've been able to do that through bonding, using existing savings that we've wisely put away through the years, and investment returns. I'm chairman of the House. I'm chairman of our Retirees Medical Trust Fund. There's about $320 million in there right now, and that fund's thrown off enough money to pay for all the expenses we had to pull out of there to pay our medical benefits, and it's really doing well. And we're ahead of the game on that score, and so we've wisely done it. So we're not going to be like the city of Detroit when they come by and say, well, guess what? We don't have the ability to fund what we've made commitments to previously and go to the taxpayers or some other entity for money. We're taking care of it ourselves. Talking about infrastructure, we're working with the executive's office to put together a program to tap, again, because we've wisely had money put aside, primarily in the delinquent tax revolving fund, which is basically our savings account used to pay delinquent taxes, as you guys from the community. But we also have a surplus in there, so we're going to tap some of that surplus and start using it to pave roads, and maybe partner with the city of Richmond. If you've got match money, maybe going us a half and 50-50 on that, and we'll put up the other 50%, you put up the other 50%, and maybe get some roads done that maybe you didn't think you had the ability to do because you couldn't pay the whole freight. And maybe we can leverage some state money with it and put a whole program together that will make sense for your local community and your own budgets to do that. And Now, $20 million is gonna go a long way. I mean, it's about $1 million a mile to pave a mile of gravel road. That's what I know, because I have more gravel roads in my district than paved roads, but 3-lane roads could be $4 or $5 million a mile to do some of those jobs right. So it's not a lot, but we can do what we can with what we have, and the state put together a funding program for roads that wasn't inadequate to take care of the needs when they passed it 3 years ago. And we're not gonna get all that money till 2020, 2021, when it's all fully implemented. So we're gonna be behind the mark by a long shot. But we have to make the best of the situation and work with our legislators, to help us get there. Your former councilman and colleague, Jeff Yark, I see him all the time, and he's definitely a big advocate for us, and trying to do the right things in Lansing, and he's definitely making your voices heard here, unlike I think we've heard before around here. So it's a good thing, and he's doing a good job for us. So let's keep an eye on that. There's your city, but we're also doing the 3 miles of limestone again for the townships. That's basically giving the townships that limestone for free. So only have to pay 10% of the cost on that, and that's appreciated and goes around a long way too. But so we're fully engaged. I'm gonna stand ready to be assistant to you, as is Paul Mitchell, with being an associate member to your board. Really, if you need a question or something, help with something that you're not sure about, give me a call, man. Because many of you know I've been involved in government a long time, state, local, and federal now, and maybe we can help figure a program out to help us get some assets in here to help do what you need to do. Our planning department, who's worked closely with John and your team here, will continue to do that. We'll have them out here to help and support and brainstorm if need be to what you're trying to accomplish. Because we're all serving the same people. Paul Mitchell believes that. I certainly believe it, and I know many of you do as well, that we need to work together collectively to provide the services our taxpayers deserve and need, and don't want us each doing the same things, paying for it each separate silos, right? So so our planning department's out there in the community quite a bit to support what you're trying to do, and the Department of Roads now, under the new county executive form of government, is now we have budgetary authority over that as well, and the executive manages the day-to-day business of that fund, but we ultimately budget the money for things that we think are important to the community, working with the executive, and again, a team effort there, and things are going very well at the county too. I mean, initially when the thing was set up, it was a lot of pushing and shoving to try to who's going to get positioned to do what, but it's pretty much settled down now, and there's still from time to time a little rift that comes along, but it's not as animosity isn't there as it once was, and we'll just go to court and let the court decide what it is without spending the taxpayers' money, So things are going well, and I don't want to take too much of your time. This is public participation, and I've probably spoken much too long, but I don't have an opportunity to talk to you very often. I want to make sure I get you all at once. But is there any questions I could answer? I'm committed to public participation, maybe on the policy you can't answer questions. I know on my board we don't. But
Council, have any questions of our representative? No, we appreciate you coming out, Don.
well, I'm available. It said information's there. You can reach me at that office there. And John has my contact information, and in fact, should have left one of my cards. On this card, it also has my personal cell number on there. So if it's important to you, you can call me or text me anytime you need to, okay? And we'll look into it, and we'll see if we can't figure out what's going on and get it done, okay?
All right.
I appreciate you seeing you all. So I've got to scoot to another meeting. Imagine that.
Yeah.
But I'll let you
Thank
guys
you.
get to your business. But thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I got your number.
We'll see you Friday, though, right?
I'll be there bright and
Yeah.
early, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Thank you.
And I have your number. Okay.
So it's also got Congressman Mitchell's contact information, his website information. A lot of information on that website about issues. You can sign up for his e-newsletter if you need to on there. There's a whole bunch of information. I encourage you to go on there and take a look around when you have time. I know you'll have plenty of time, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on, adoption agenda. Any changes, Mr. City Manager?
Just one correction under the consent agenda, item S should read approval of schedule of bills dated April 16th, 2018 in the amount of $69,594.25.
Thank you.
And that's on the table and was emailed to council earlier.
Okay. Anything, City Council? Any changes? Being not a motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported for the agenda. There's no discussion on that motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to items for consideration, which we only have two this evening. The first one being consideration of a special event request, St. Augustine Parish Festival. Mr. City Manager?
This year, the St. Augustine Parish Festival is August 10th through August 12th. As they've done in previous years, they're coming in requesting the permission to place additional signage throughout the community. This year, they're asking for July 27th through August 14th, which is the same number of days as they had last year, I think maybe even one less. And so everything else is the same as what they presented in the past.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special event application for St. Augustine Catholic Church to have 6 temporary signs in conjunction with their annual parish festival on August 10th through August 12th with the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant shall work with city staff on proper placement of the signs to minimize any site visibility issues. Number 2, the signs are allowed to be displayed July 27th through August 14th, 2018.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Any audience participation? Back to the table. We wish them good luck and good weather. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 2 is consideration of wastewater treatment plant geobag purchase. Mr. City Manager?
Both our Public Service Director and Tetra Tech, who runs our wastewater treatment plant, is recommending the purchase of 2 of the geo bags that we utilize to dewater the effluent of the plant. And by utilizing that, we reduce costs on the liquid sludge hauling and are able to take the output directly to the landfill.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to waive the purchasing ordinance requirements on the basis of the sole source supplier and to authorize the expense of $9,154 for the purchase of 2 geo bags from WaterSolve LLC with funds charged to the appropriate line items from contractual services and the wastewater treatment plant.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on this item? Any audience participation? Got nothing to do with Parks and Rec, huh? It could. Yes, it could. Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, roll call. Here,
Green,
Yes.
LaFour,
Yes.
Mistrovich.
Yes.
Rindell.
Yes.
Ricks.
yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Motion passes. City manager's comments, sir.
The Park Street project and the fire hall entryway got underway today, and so looking forward to those projects being completed. Just want to thank staff, both our treasurer and the front office staff, the clerk, for all kind of working with PSNA as we go through the process of switching over to our new financial software. The last week and this week have been pretty hectic, and so not only doing their normal routine, they're also kind of learning a whole new program, as you kind of saw with the schedule of bills. One major change that's already been implemented is we can take credit cards here at City Hall now, and shortly we'll have kind of the website changed to have kind of the online payment information up and online. That's not there at the moment, but will be shortly. And so it's certainly, I think, going to be a big benefit to our residents as well as the staff that deal with those programs. And just wanted to thank the staff for a lot of extra work they've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Very good, very good. Council comments. Rod?
Nothing tonight.
John?
Nothing.
Emily?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Jamie?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
I gotta do the calendar. But I have a question first. A lot of people are asking, we're holding our breath all winter long on the beautiful job that MDOT did to our Main Street, or didn't do, I should say. What have we heard lately?
I've corresponded with Brian Travis, who was the gentleman that put out the letters at the end of last year, kind of summarizing what happened. They have a meeting scheduled with their contractor for April 30th. I think they kind of wanted to wait to see what the plowing and everything else did to the product that was placed out there. Certainly, they acknowledge that there was a lot of issues there. So they're having a meeting with the contractor probably to kind of evaluate all those things and figure out what the game plan will be for this summer on April 30th. After that, they're going to schedule a meeting with not only city officials but state elected officials as well to kind of then meet with us. I know in the past, in the letter that they sent out in the fall, they indicated that they will strive to do the work at night. Obviously, the million-dollar question is, what does the word strive mean for all of us? Again, they're meeting with the contractor on the 30th, and we'll then probably shortly thereafter have a meeting with us to kind of talk about what the game plan is. I also then corresponded with them today on the striping or lack thereof, and I'm waiting on a response to that email.
That right now, to me, is probably the worst thing, especially in addition to the Burger King going in and you know, everything that's going on, TSC opening, we've got more traffic, and the striping is almost non-existent.
Correct.
And if nothing else, we need to get back in here and take care of that. So hopefully sooner than later. Okay. I'm sure you'll stay on top of that.
Absolutely. In fact, I was thinking of taking some photos to share with everyone at the TSC and the state level.
Yeah.
Because there's some nice shots of South Main that I think kind of, like as you mentioned, the striping is pretty much non-existent.
It's non-existent. Yeah.
And you have the decel lane, the center turn lane, and two travel lanes.
Right.
And it's a little bit of a unique, you know, if it was just two travel lanes and a center lane, everyone kind of judge. We're from Michigan, we kind of know how to do that in the snow. But down there, you have with that one side having the decel lane, or the, you know, it just shifts everything, and it's difficult to tell where you're at.
Yeah. Really, and on the same note, we'd like to welcome TSC, and I believe we have a couple of new hair studios in town also, and also the Burger King opening. Things are happening. We're filling up stores. It's good to see. Real good to see.
And I apologize, I just realized I mentioned TSC. I was referring to the Transportation Service Center. and so on camera, please, the Tractor Supply had no responsibility on the striping. It was
well,
the
you're in TSC. Okay, the 16th today, we have the library yearly book sale preview night is going to be on the 18th, starting at 4 o'clock, and then the book sale will go on through Saturday. Also, the Historical Society is having the Lost Car Companies event at the Community Center at 7 o'clock on the 19th. And let's see, we are going to start hydrant flushing on Sunday the 22nd, and that will be going through to the 27th, that Friday. White Cane Week is going to be the 27th. They'd also be out there on Saturday, would they not?
Yes.
The 27th and 28th of April, they'll be out selling the White Canes. Little League opening day, unbelievable, is going to be the 28th if it would quit snowing. And we have our next regular scheduled meeting will be May 7th. I have a couple of announcements also. We talked about the spring book sale going on at the library from the 18th through the 21st. Richmond Community Choir will be hosting their spring concert on the 27th and the 29th of April at the school, I assume. Yes, at the Richmond High School Auditorium. That's Friday the 27th and Sunday the 29th. And the Lois Wagner Memorial Library will be having a Mother's Day puzzle competition on Saturday, May 12th, 10 a.m. It is a competition. You can call 727-2665. The event is free. Donations are always welcome. Spaces are very limited, so don't delay. And I believe it's a 500-piece puzzle. And it's who can put it together the fastest, maybe?
Yes.
Is that what
Teams
it
of
is?
2 to 4 who can put it together the
Okay.
fastest.
So that's Saturday, May 12th. Check-in is at 10 a.m. That's all I have. Is there any other business of the city council this evening? Motion to adjourn will be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Council will be going back into the budget session.